Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/prorevenge, where people tell us their best stories and when they got revenge on someone or something they didn't like. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax and enjoy some pro-revenge stories. Father endangers his kid to tell me off, ends up calling the police for himself. A few weeks ago, I was driving in my neighborhood playing Pokemon Go. Not while driving, obviously. The end of my neighborhood has a Pokestop that I collect items from every day, as you get bonus items if you collect from stops every day. This particular day was my 7th day, meaning I would get even more items and would start over from day 1 the next day. I drove to the stop, got the items, set my phone on passenger seat and went home. The road I was driving on was 20 miles an hour, but I was going about 12 to 13 miles an hour. I drive up a small hill and turn a corner when a wild family appears, including the douchebag dad. The wife, her friend, and the 3 kids walking by them stepped off to the side of the road to let me pass. But as I was going by, douchebag dad, who had a young boy about 3 to 4 years old in one arm and holding a Budweiser bottle in the other, important later, actually stepped closer to my car and yelled something at me. Being as I had gotten into an accident recently and was trying to be as safe as possible, I stopped the car, rolled down my window and asked if he was alright. The conversation went as followed. "Are you guys alright? Why did you do that?" "You see my family, right?" "Yes, what about them?" "You know you were driving too fast for this neighborhood, right?" I should point out that I live in Illinois, and while my car was being repaired from the accident, I had a loaner car with Wisconsin plates. "Sir, I was going only about 12 miles an hour, and the limit is 20 here. I wasn't driving too fast." "Well, you almost hit me and my son." "Yeah, because you stepped close to a moving vehicle. The only one putting you guys in danger was yourself." The douchebag dad looks at my phone in the passenger seat. "I don't know what the laws are in Wisconsin, but here in Illinois, you can't be on your phone while driving. I'm calling the police." "I don't know their laws either. This car is just a loaner. I live here in Illinois." "Then you should know the laws. I'm calling the cops." Have fun with that. And with that, I just left. I know I probably should have stayed, but since I didn't actually do anything wrong, I wasn't taking his threat seriously. I went home and made some ramen to eat. As I was sitting in my dining room, I look out the window and nearly choke on my noodles. The douchebag dad followed me home. He was on his cell phone with the dispatcher and I thought I was screwed. About 5 minutes later, 2 cop cars with 3 police officers, PO1, PO2 and PO3, who didn't really talk throughout the whole thing. I stepped outside thinking I was done for. The officers started to question the 2 of us. "OP, do you know why we're here?" "I have a pretty good idea what you think you're doing here, but why don't you let me know?" "This gentleman called us saying you attempted to run his family over after you got caught texting while driving and going way over the speed limit." My mind went blank for a few seconds. This dude actually said that I had tried to run them over. My mind started working again and I said, "Sir, that couldn't be farther from the truth. I was driving home from playing Pokemon Go on my phone when this man stepped close to my car while I was driving. My phone was on the passenger seat the entire ride home." "He's lying. He nearly hurt my family. Arrest him now." "Sir, calm down. We'll settle this." "OP, what was this man doing when the incident occurred?" Suddenly, an idea popped into my head, and right there, on the fly, the revenge started. He was walking with his family along the side of the road, carrying a young boy on one arm and holding a beer bottle in the other. "That's not true, you piece of garbage!" "Sir, control yourself." As I drove by them, the rest of his family went to the side of the road, but he actually stepped closer to my car. I think he got within an inch of me. "This is BS. He's just trying to protect himself." "Sir, if what he is saying is true, you could actually be arrested here, not him." "Are you sure that's what happened?" "Positive. He got way too close to my moving vehicle, holding a child and a bottle of Miller Lite." "It wasn't Miller Lite, it was Budweiser." He cut himself off and tried to backtrack, but it was too late. All the officers looked at him. He tried to defend himself, but then Police Officer 3 said something I thought I would never hear a cop say in my life. "Sir, have you had anything to drink this evening?" The douchebag dad, now very less confident, "No." They move him to one of the cop cars and gave him a breathalyzer test. 0.12%, just over the limit. Gotcha, douchebag. Douchebag dad ended up confessing to them that I was right and was arrested for public intoxication and child endangerment. He has yet to go before a judge to determine if he is a danger to his family. The officer asked if I wanted to press any charges, but I told them no, since he already had enough on his plate to deal with. If I was the dude driving the car, I'd probably get like a restraining order on this guy because he knows where he lives now because he followed him home, and you don't want him coming back after that. Refuse to pay the $600 you owe me? Guess what? Now you owe me double. As I transitioned out of the US Navy about 3 years ago, I decided to sell my beloved Saturn Vue, which was on the decline, and bought a much newer RAV4. When I returned home, I now had my shiny new car and wanted to sell my old one to someone who I thought would take care of it. I'm sappy like that. My cousin, C, was dating a guy who we will call ex-douchebag. I had met him before and he seemed chill. So, I verbally agreed to sell him the car for $2,000, half up front and payments when he could do so. An important factoid for later is that when you transfer the title, you tell the state what you're selling for and get taxed on that. We were discussing telling the state that I was selling to him for less to lessen the tax. I don't remember why, but last minute, I decided to tell the notary the full price I was selling for. Good thing I did. After a few months of sporadic payments and a really nasty breakup between my cousin and ex-douchebag, turns out he was a serious douchebag, surprise surprise, the payments stopped. Now, I was hopping between my dad's house, near my cousin, and my mum's, 8 hours away, and college, in between, and takes around 10 months out of the year. He had missed months before, so I wasn't too concerned, but after 3 months, I messaged him about the payments. The conversation went basically as follows. "Hey ED, sorry to hear about the breakup. How did you want to give the money to me now that C isn't acting as a go-between?" "I paid the money. If C decided to take it for herself, that's not my problem. The car is legally titled in my name, so it's your problem now. Delete my number, have a nice day." Okay. Very dubious. "Hi Aunt and C, did ED give you the remaining $600? "Yeah, no." "Hi ED, me again. They say they didn't receive it. How did you send it? I can track it down." "I gave her $600. It's not my problem anymore. Don't text me again." Well, alrighty then. Since he can get me for harassment for continuing to contact him, I decide for a little malicious compliance. I take all of the texts, get A and C to agree to testify if needed, put together a list of his payments and dates, the car title receipt, which says how much it was sold for, and take his butt to the local district court. Now, as I said, I was bouncing around a lot, which is why this took so long to be honest, but it took about a year for this step, in which a lot of research was done, and apparently a year was the lowball estimate on the statute of limitations anyway. The biggest pain in the rear was making sure his address was up to date. He used his grandmother's as a mailing address, and after he was served, he moved again, likely trying to get rid of me, lol. I know when he was served because I received a message from him on the day he was. This conversation was as follows. Excuse me, but I thought we settled this a year ago." "Well, sorry, but there is still $600 missing, and you told me not to contact you, so..." "I already told you I paid. I have to deal with $8,000 from my DUI and $7,000 from my motorcycle accident. I can't deal with this petty stuff. If you take me to court, I'll countersue you for stress and garnish your wages for missing work." At this point, he's trying to get me to tell him what I have on him that can prove he's in trouble. I tell him he can find out in discovery. He repeats that he would be happy to pay if there was a discrepancy. Which, please, if that were true, we wouldn't be here now, would we? Then he started ranting. You have nothing on me. It's obvious you have no proof. Isn't suspicious that C got a new car? It's obvious where the money went. I'm not concerned about going to court at all. I was just trying to save you the time and money, and blah blah blah. Eventually, I just give up talking to him and say that the court will handle it, see you then. He made it clear that his ace in the hole was the fact that we had a verbal agreement. Show me our signed agreement. Huh? Where is it? Fun fact, verbal agreements are enforceable, and C was there to witness it. Now, he gets a month to respond to the summons. Guilty, no guilty, etc. Then, a second date is set for the hearing. But if he doesn't respond, it's default judgment. Last day he shows up and agrees that he owes the money, and does not intend to fight it. Awesome. The court enters judgment for the 600 plus all my filing fees. I did get slightly confused when I got the news of default judgment because I thought he just didn't show up, not that he didn't contest it. At this point, he gets another month to appeal. The day after that date is passed, I gleefully message him again. Hi ED, it's been a month since the judgment and I haven't heard from you. How did you want to proceed? Judgment was wrong. I'm fighting it in court. I never signed anything. That's my defense and I will see you in court. You didn't show up. You didn't respond to the letter, which the court knows you received, and you didn't appeal within the 30 days. Remember, I thought he didn't even show up. I did show up and told her I was fighting. Not my fault they processed it wrong. I lost a whole day of work, and will be suing you for that too. Plus, whatever else I lose over this. My parole officer and I discussed it. What you've been told is severely wrong. I just stopped responding. My next step was to file my judgment at the county court. Make sure it would get signed after the judgment by the judge. Learn from my mistake. Then file for a writ of execution. Remember again that all these fees just get added to the total amount he has to pay. Turns out that he moved sometime in all of this, so the sheriff just subpoenaed his address from the post office. Turns out he was living with his new girlfriend. And finally, the conclusion. Just last night, my dad says, guess what? You got mail. It's from the sheriff. I'm like, oh, gimme. Now, I was expecting something about that he was fighting the writ. They couldn't find him. What my next step was, something. What I didn't expect was 2 escrow checks for the full amount owed me. I squealed in absolute delight. I told my mum, my cousin, my aunt, and we'll gleefully have the checks cashed on Monday. Thanks y'all for reading. That's why you just gotta pay straight up, don't wait for it, because otherwise you're gonna end up with trouble. And make that double. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.